of what one looks like. We're going to talk about what's it for. The biggest thing I use these for would be review or notes. It's kind of like tricking them into doing something fun when you're trying to inform or review something. And they kind of look at it as a competition because you're in small groups. But obviously for maybe COVID purposes, you'd maybe not be in small groups. You'd be by themselves, which they can do. And then let me just show you which one I made for my group this year. Like I said, I'm a visual person. I like to see examples. So I did one this year on hurricanes. I teach STEM basically at East Hardin, and we did a hurricane house project. And before we did that, we had to obviously inform about hurricanes. And you'll see that there's a title always. And it's really cool because there is no chronological order that they can go in. They can just click anything that they need to. So obviously I started here, and there's always the introduction or the instructions, and that's where you're going to present a mission for them. And so I'll click on that for you. And all you're using here is just basically embedded links. So you can make these links on Google Slides, Google Docs, anything really Google, or even a YouTube video, you can embed in there. So I created a video of a voiceover of this mission right here. So they were basically these meteorologists, and they had to go in and actively monitor hurricanes and alert the public they need to evacuate. So basically what they were doing was finding information on these hurricanes. And at the very end, after they've gotten all of their clues, they had to enter a 4-digit code that alerts the public and keeps them safe. So once they read through that, it takes them back to the escape room. Now, in a regular classroom setting, they would have a pencil and a piece of paper that goes along with it. And if you teach hurricanes at any point in time, natural disasters, I can share this with you, and you're more than welcome to use it. But if you click on the images, it should take you to different clues. Hopefully this will load. So this first clue was an informative video on how hurricanes form, and they can watch through this. It was only about 2 minutes long, but at the end of the video, with each clue, they had to answer a question. So it's really good, kind of a nice formative assessment, just to, hey, did you understand this? And then clicking on the next image, it can go to clue 2. Like I said, it does not have, the clues should not be in order. So they don't have to go from clue 1 to clue 2, just as long as they have all of the clues at the end. So this was a Google Doc, and there's facts there, and they have to kind of uncode the facts throughout that and answer questions on that. Like I said, this comes with a handout sheet that they were answering questions throughout. And if you do want this, I can share it with you. And then this is another one. Once again, they answer questions throughout each clue. By the very end, so they're clicking on all of these images and videos are popping up. This is a kind of a lengthy one because of 50, 60-minute class period. Obviously, if we're doing NTI, I wouldn't make it this long. And then at the very end, they'll use their clues to enter in on each little question. So my biggest advice is always for the 4-digit code, use Google Forms. And if you don't know how to do Google Forms, I'd be more than happy to help you today to enter in the right answers. And if they don't answer in those right answers, it gives feedback immediately. And they can submit again and again until they get the right code. But it's really nice in a classroom setting because you're able to facilitate, you're able to kind of mentor those students through this process. So today, though, I am going to show you how it would work more so in TI. And if we have time, we'll go back and I can share all of these resources, how it would work in the classroom. For NTI, it would be best used if we go through a Google Meet with the students and have them log on, share the link, and kind of go through together step by step. So here's the breakdown of the breakout room. So it's very important to have a title at the top of the page. So like I said about the title, like the hurricane room, or what your topic is, what your chapter is. And then if you continue on, I think I showed you the mission or the instructions. That's where you're sneaky putting in the instructions on why are we doing this? It's a good point to give on how the students should navigate through your escape room. And I will show you today, step by step, how we do that. And then the clues. So you can get as creative as you want. You can do YouTube videos. You can even do Google Maps, Google Docs, Google Slides. And you're just basically linking those into the pictures. And I will show you how to do that today as well. And then you can add a questionnaire, 1 to 2 questions, just like to make sure they're on the same track that you are. And then, like I said before, if you're teaching online or digital learning, you're going to want to share your screen and assist students as you go along. And then the breakout code is usually, the different 4-digit code of some sort from the clues that they found that breaks them out of this escape room. Does anyone have any questions so far before I kind of continue on to show you some more examples? Okay, I'll continue on. All right, so before I get into all of the resources that I kind of found myself, basic format, so video and comprehension, this is really nice because you're kind of getting to all those different learning styles, whether it's videos, reading, maps, text, all different types of ways. Even math, it's super great for. It makes solving equations fun or solving any kind of math problems fun. Okay, so if you click here, I've kind of created a helpful link page. So the hurricane escape room, I've already linked here for you. Brandy New created one called the author's purpose. If you look on that, she uses a Google link one or a Google map. This Wakelet I found has a bunch of digital escape rooms. They're all free. You can look at them so you can like copy and paste and see how they go through them. They use more of a Google form setup. So I will show you if we go to this one right here. So the 25 free escape rooms. If you scroll down here. Okay. So if we go to, the very first one. Okay. So this is a history one, and it's about Abraham Lincoln. And you can look at the background. Here's kind of that mission, and you're going to do something about it, and then click here to move on. So they've linked something there. And here's the instructions again. So it's very guided if you want to make it guided, or in class, it's a lot more flexible where you're able to facilitate and go through and kind of like mentor them on where they should go if they have questions. But like I said, during the online version, I would try and make it more guided on, this is clue 1, clue 2, clue 3, just to make it a little bit more easy for students to navigate through. Like I said too before, if we do go online, I would recommend a Google Meet, and you're able to share your screen and talk through it, whether there's misconceptions of any kind.
Shelly, we have a question.
Yeah.
Does it give you appropriate grade levels?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Does the resource give you appropriate grade levels?
So this resource does not give you appropriate grade levels, but if you look at those learning targets that you have, I'm sure you could add in or correspond something that maybe you do in your classroom, whether it's for notes or review to inform students. And I would obviously preview before you go through. But like I said before, this is the grade levels are not on this one, but you could add those in. Like I said, I'm just a visual person, so this kind of helps me. I hope that answers your question, hopefully. Okay. I'm going to go through a different one now. So if you don't mind, if you don't have any other questions right now, I'm going to try and go through step by step what this process looks like. Would everybody be okay with that? Okay. So the very first thing of creating your site to set it up is to go on your Google Drive and to create your own site. So I'm going to go to Google Sites. So if you click that little waffle right there, and you'll find Google Sites right down here. So I'll give you a second. If you want to follow along with me and just watch, that's fine. But if you want to actually do it yourself, you can do that too. Okay, so I'll hit create right here. And try and do the new sites, the recommended one. It's super great. Okay, and here's where it'll take you. Google's pretty great because it is, a lot of things are labeled. So it's super helpful to kind of navigate through yourself as well. Okay. So if we're looking here, you can always name your site, and you're going to give your escape room a title, the layout, those types of things. So I'm going to scroll to this next one on the trial run, which is we're going to go through it together step by step. So I'm going to name my site One Step Equations. And I can give it a title. I don't know if y'all have heard of Whodunit, the show on ABC, but you can turn it into, it's kind of like a clue mystery where 13 contestants get on the show, and one of them is a quote unquote murderer, and they have to figure out who it is. It's just a show, but it's something that they can go through and solve these math problems, and it'll give them clues as they go through. Okay, the next thing that this one says is, hey, give your, select a background image. So selecting a background image is right here. And you can change that image. I'm going to do the chalkboard one right there. Now that you've gone through that, these are the most important things on this side. So you can enter in different types of layout. I guess I would give this it's basically like PowerPoint. So it's like you're applying a layout. So down here below, you're going to see that layout that I've clicked. So there's a picture, and you could add text. And if you don't want it, you can throw it away. You can add 2 pictures and text. You can duplicate it, or you can give it a background. So those are kind of your options there, which is kind of nice. So I'll just delete this as well. Is everyone good with me so far? Are there any questions on anything? Do you want to see anything specifically done at this point in time?
Looks like they're good, Shelly.
All right, thank you. Okay, so as we continue on, I'll kind of go back through. So you can add a theme as well, and I'll go to the level theme. And so you can do different colors, different font styles. You can edit it any way that you're feeling. I'll show you the pages a little bit later. So if we are going to do, I'm going to show you how to embed something. That's probably the most important thing through all of this. Okay. So I'm going to add a page really quick. Okay. So this little plus button shows you there's a new page, and I'm going to say breakout code. And so you're going to see at the top, the students get to the breakout code here, but they can go back home and start the clues on this page. So when they're done solving the clues with or without you, depending on the NTI setting, then they can go to the breakout code. And you don't have to do it on a separate page. You can do it all on one page. That's totally up to you. Okay. So I have already created the mission and instructions, and I'm just going to kind of copy and paste those. So here's my mission or instructions. So I'll go back to insert, and you can do a text box, and I'm just going to do a text box. And I'm going to paste that in there. And if you want to change the text, obviously it's kind of like Word. You can do a heading. You can just do normal text. It's totally up to you. So I've kind of told them what's happening right now, that they're going to have to solve these clues and then do the breakout code to break out and reveal the killer. I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong. As we continue on, you're going to embed this YouTube video, the mission video, so they actually have the ABC. It's a minute long, so it's really short, but it should engage their attention. So it talks about the whodunit, and it shows the contestants through it, and so it kind of gives them an idea of what we're trying to solve. So I'm going to embed that code, or embed this link in here. I'm going to copy that link, and I can put it here, down here, and say click here for mission video. I'm going to highlight that. I'll paste that. So once again, if you don't know how to insert a link, you could always just put the link here. I'll show you a different way. I'll paste the link there. And then if you click on the link, you can hit edit. And then where it says text, I could type that same thing. Okay. I hope that makes sense so far. Does anyone have questions so far? So we've done the title, and we've done the mission and the instructions. And so now we're going to move on to the clues. Questions so far? Good? Okay. I'm thinking we're good. All right. So the next part, I have already figured out all the clues, and then I made the breakout code. So I'll show you the first clue. And obviously I didn't go like into depth with these at all. So you're going to see the first one is a just a Google Doc, and it's a one-step equation, and they're just solving to find how many squares under each cup. And it's basically got 3 choices underneath. And so they're going to have some sort of question at the end of that. What I would do is, let me open this for you. Okay. Open preview. Okay. What I would do is once they get to this clue, you can label these A, B, and C. and then have them some sort of way answer these. So in person, you could do with a piece of paper and a pencil, and that's some kind of like a little exit slip that you collect with all of their answers after they finish all the clues. Or you could have them look at this clue and then put a question right under that of a Google form of just one question, and then they can move on. So once again, I'll copy and paste this. And I will put in, we'll do this one. And you could put a picture here. I'll just do this. And I'll say clue 1. And then if you don't like that big long link, I think they're not that great. So I would put click here. And then like I said, underneath it, you know, you could say after you read clue 1, answer this question. And then that's when you could enter in whether or not they've got the right answer on the Google form. So that's kind of that instant feedback for them. Does that make sense so far? And then you can put in upload any kind of picture, YouTube video. So that's nice too. So same thing for this mission video. If you're like, man, I don't want that there, they need to see that there's a video, you can do a YouTube video here. And you can just do that name. And that should pop up. And then you can click that and then it should upload it. But questions so far? Okay. So same thing for clue 2 and clue 3. You'll kind of upload those. And I know you're thinking, well, how do I make all these different clues? What I do is I usually create my own folder. So let me show you. So like, I think I shared that folder with you. Where is it? Okay. And I put all the clues in that folder. So they're all together. So I can hit new and I can hit a Google Doc, or I can even do a Google Sheet with math, Google Slides. You could even do a Google Drawing, Google Maps, all these different types of ways to make these different clues. So once you create the clues, then all you need to do is copy the link and put them on the Google site, and it should take the students right there. So I hope that makes sense. It's not the same teaching face-to-face than it is online. Okay. And I'll go through and do are we good with the clues on how to insert the clues? Do I need to touch base on those, or should I move on to the breakout code? So I want to give you a chance to kind of run through the free resources and stuff. Okay. All right. So I will kind of touch base on the breakout code. Okay. So here is this. This is my breakout code. Okay. So clue 1, how the victim died. How many letters are in the underlying answer? So they have to go back and look at their first clue. So here was clue 1. And you'll see they're going to find, okay, so this is in a way kind of checking through. I did it, the breakout code, where it checks through at the very end. Did you actually write these down? Did you solve this? So the answer here, so if you've got 21, this should be 7. So their answer would be C. So if they count all these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they'll click this, because that's the answer that they got. Let me show you clue 2. And I just made clue 2 a slide. So I've kind of integrated here 3 different problems. And it says solve the following 3 problems for the correct code. So the correct code is going to give them where the scene of the crime happened. And so whether it's A, B, or C, and they're going to find out that it is actually A. So you can label those two. So after they solve those, they'll say, okay, it was the library. And then looking at clue 3, so they'll have to solve this one. And then they'll find that code there and realize it's Miss Green. So, and then I wanted to show you that I have not put the correct answers on these clues yet. And then they'd hit submit. So right now it just says view score. But obviously I haven't put in the correct answers yet. So to do that, one second. Go away. Okay. So to do that, you're going to make this setup like a quiz setting. So you'll go to settings. Don't do limit to 1 response. So if they do mess up, they can go back and answer that. Make this a quiz. So I've already done that part. And if you're unsure on how to do that, go to the answer key. I believe that was 7 for my answer. You don't have to do points. You can if you want to. And then give answer feedback. So if they get it right or wrong, you can give them feedback. If they get it right, you can give them feedback and save that. But if they do get it wrong too, with math, it's nice. You could link in like maybe a Khan Academy video here and maybe say, hey, try this.
Shelly, there's a question. Does answering the clue give them a code?
So you have to, answering a question, that's a good question. Let me go back. So answering a question, are you talking about these questions gives you a code, or on the breakout code gives you a code?
The clue question.
Okay, so yeah, the clue question, so they will have to obviously record their answers down for each clue. And they're gonna see that, hold on. So let me go back to, I'll just do clue 2. This gives them the correct code for this one. So looking at clue 2, we realized it was the library is where the incident was happening. So for this one, I'm looking for, where did the crime happen? Who was the victim and who did it? So this is where they find out, okay, this is the scene of the crime. So they had to solve these problems and they got this answer. And then for this clue, they had to solve the equation and realize that Miss Green committed the crime. And then for clue 1, they had to solve the equation, and that's when they realized the victim was killed in a car crash. And that's when they had to use these 7 letters to kind of break out. So all of their clues are helping them answer these questions. Now, if you want to do it in a number sense, so on my hurricane one, they've answered questions throughout the breakout room. And then at the very end, they've asked for a different type of code. You can do a numeric code. So let me show you one that has numeric code too. That might be helpful. Hold on. Let me exit out of all these. Okay, let me go through this one. So I will show you this one. Like I said, I'm a visual person. I kind of like to see it. Once again, same thing here. Title, introduction and mission. And then if they click on images, it's going to take them somewhere else. And then once they finish everything, you're going to enter, your email address or your name. And then from each clue, you're entering in what you have found out from each clue, and then you can submit it, and it kind of breaks you out. So I would maybe do 3 clues for NTI or online. When you're in person, you can do more. If you are going through it with them, you could do more clues, but I would stick to a limited amount. Does anyone have any questions so far? I feel like that's a lot of information at one time. I kind of want you just to explore on your own. And if you have any questions right now, I'm here and I can answer them and go through them with you. All right, I'll stop sharing my screen right now and give you a second to process everything.
Hey, Miss McCamish.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you, dude?
Good. What about you?
I'm doing well. I miss you.
Me too. I'm bored.
I know, man. Bored in the house.
He just wanted to say hi. Sorry, I won't let him keep you.
Oh, no, he's fine. Jonathan, I hope you're doing well.
You too.
All right. Take care, bud.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi.
I've seen you before.
This is Joshua. You'll have him in 1 year after 5th grade. Say bye.
In a few years. See ya. Yes, I will reshare that folder. Okay. 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 Let me see. Okay. Do students have to, hold on. Here's the folder. I shared that again. It says, do students have to click tabs at the top to go back to slides, or is there some other way for students to review the sections? That's totally up to you. So, like I said, I'll go back to the hurricane proof one. So let me click on that one, just to give you a visual here. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so it says, do students have to click tabs at the top to go back to slides, or is there some other way? So they would have to review the clues. Is that what you're asking, Phyllis? Okay, so to review the clues again, they do have to, you could make a review at the very end if you're like an all-inclusive clue, but let me share this again. Okay. But what I would do is, truthfully, they'll have to kind of uncode it by themselves. Okay. So I did, on my hurricane one, I did not have an all-inclusive clue. What they did have was, as they went through each clue, they had a piece of paper and a pencil with them. And let me show you kind of, I'll pull that up so you guys can see that now, kind of what I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay, so let me pull this up. So this is the doc that I kind of printed off, and they used it together as groups. So on clue one, after they read clue one, they had to answer this question, because this is something that they turned in at the end. So if you go back to this one, wherever clue one is, here it is, perfect. They'll read through this, and once they read through it, that's when they can answer the question. This second part was something that we did in class. So for NTI, I would probably ignore that. Okay. Clue 2, same thing there. Whatever clue I use, whatever type of format I used, I believe it was another reading passage. They answered a question. And then I gave them Morse code, and they had to solve what it said because that helped break them out at the very end. Clue 3, read something, answered a question. So for NTI purposes and online purposes, I know I'm talking a lot about that, but I just am trying to prepare. I would go through something a little bit more like each picture you click on, I would give, either the YouTube video, and then after the YouTube video, directly underneath that, say, like answer this question. So then it like a Google form question. So it gives that automatic feedback. And then after clue 2, do the same thing. Give that Google form question, gives it feedback. And you can kind of go through it with them or tell them to write something down. And then at the very end, you can make up any kind of code. I hope that answers your question. Maybe. Let me see what the other ones. Can I share the folder? How would you post this assignment? Yeah, you would do a link to the site. Let me show you how to publish that and share that. Okay. Ollie. Okay. So what I would do, awesome, you're welcome, Phyllis. So how we publish the site, let me go to the one-step equations, and I will share the screen with you. And whoever sees this is only who you share the link with. So it's not like an actual website, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so right here you hit publish. This is just your web address on what you want it to be named. I'll just leave it as that. And once you publish, you can republish. So after you make changes, make sure you just update and publish again. That's kind of like your quote unquote new changes. And if you hit preview, you can see what everybody else is going to see. So right now I can see that everybody's going to see this right here. And then hit exit. And just like any kind of Google Doc, copy publish site link. And you can copy that link and you can share that. You can share it on Google Classroom or whatever format you're using for in-learning or NTI learning. So I hope that helps right there. Okay, someone said, do you embed the Google form into the site? Is that possible? Yes, you can totally embed the Google form into the site. So you don't have to open as many links. The best part about this whole Google site is it's up to you how you want it to flow. In person, like I said, you can have a little bit more fun with it because you can facilitate through and not have to go directly in order. So, but online learning, I would probably label a little bit more or get on a Google Meet and go through it with them. So you are facilitating and giving back feedback as well. Does that answer your question, Casey? Have you ever used different pages for your clues? So I use obviously the regular homepage, and then I made a breakout room homepage. I usually don't use any additional pages because I'm usually doing 3 to 5 clues. If you want to keep doing additional pages and make maybe 1 clue per page, and on each page you could do a YouTube video, a reading, a passage reading, or a Google map, and then have a question at the very end of each page with just a Google form question, you could do that too. So each page is its own Google question. you could do that too. Yes, can you show how to do that? Yeah. Mary, did that answer your question, I hope? When you did this, did students work in groups or individually? When I did it in classroom, we did it with groups, small groups, 2 to 3. NTI, they obviously did it alone, and I had students log on with me, and we kind of facilitated through. But I tried to make it a setup where it's very guided, more of a interactive worksheet. And until they got the hang of it, then you could obviously make it a little bit more in depth. But showing them how it works is very important on the first one. So maybe on the first one, you could do a Google site, like a get to know you kind of thing. Or like the first day activities, you could do some sort of Google site that's, you know, a little bit more fun. So they're understanding how to work Google site, but, you know, not doing something academic. All right, let me show you how to embed that in there. Let me go back. Okay. Okay. So this is the embedded code on my Hurricane one. So I'll show you. I'll edit it real quick. Okay. So what I did here was basically put in a link. So right here, let me open up the link and I'll just copy the link. Okay. Okay. I got too many tabs open. So, hold on. So instead of doing the text, why is this paused? Come on, come on, come on. Okay. So you're just going to hit the embedded button from the web and insert that there. Casey, I hope that answers your question. Okay. Sorry if you've already answered this. I've been working on questions on each page, unlock other pages. They don't unlock other, at least for the formats that I've set up, they don't unlock other pages. I would just, like I said, if you want to do the different clues for the pages, you could, I'll share my screen again. Sorry, I'm a visual person. So I'll go to the different one. So I could go back to pages and hit clue 1. And so they have to go, you could tell them in the instructions and in the mission, go through each clue on each page. So you could hit clue 1. And what I would do is enter in maybe a picture or a video of some sort. And then right here at the very end, do a Google form question that they have, obviously they have to hit until they go to the next clue. Because if they don't do those 3 clues or 5 clues or however many clues, they can't break out. So they know that they have to go back. I hope that makes sense. Do you know how to make a Google form where the student has to get a clue? Has to get clue 1 code. Yeah, so you just have to make separate Google forms Or I would just, Jacqueline, I would just use one Google form, and I will show you on here. I'm sorry, my dog is. Okay. So for the hurricane one, let me pull that one up again. Okay. So on my Google form, they obviously, it's kind of like I made it more like a quiz setting. So it says first number in the code. So they would have to answer in something. I believe it was like 7622, I believe. I don't remember. I'll try 23 first. Okay. And what it'll do is give instant feedback. It will not let them move on until it's correct. So obviously these are all wrong. So they have to show me or check in with me if this is not right. If you're more worried about doing each one and then moving on, that's where the virtual learning comes in handy. Or if you're in person, you could say, I need your group to check in with me once you've gotten the first one correct. So, yeah.
I have done them before. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've done them before. I bought one. I bought several on Teachers Pay Teachers, but I like the idea of making my own, where you have one question on the Google form. They have to get it correct to move on to question number 2. But I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that?
If you could send me, I'm trying to wonder. Move on to question, like a totally different page.
Like it's a Google form.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
And the first question, like they have to put in the correct answer, the correct code. And then it says, correct, move on to, and then it takes them to the second question.
Right. Yeah, so that's not even Google Sites. That's totally on Google Forms. So
right. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I could show you after this. If you give me your email, we can Google me and we could do that together. If that sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Did I get all the questions? Yeah, if anybody wants to do that after, I will totally go through that with you. So just send me your email and we can go through that. Absolutely. Or I'll send you mine and you can send me an email. I know. Okay, sorry, my dog, we just got a new dog, so he is like, here, come here, I'll show you. Come here. Okay. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Full of spunk, that's for sure. Okay, let me see. Yeah, he's been keeping me busy, that's for sure. Okay, is that branching on a Google form to make that happen? I believe there is, like, it's another section. You can section it on Google form. That's what it's called. So you'll have different sections. So it'll say move on to the next section on the Google form. So if you know what that means on Google form, that might answer your question. Did I get all the questions? I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure. I think so.
I think you did, Shelly.
Thank you, Monica. Okay. If the Google form is embedded on page 1 beside